We learn a lot together here in the nation of Nindie. We laugh, we cry, we really see the ups and downs of indie games, don't we? Well, today, my friends, my fellow citizens, today, we learn how to make lemonade. Greetings, citizens! I'm Jeff, and thanks for tuning in to Nindie Nation episode 167. Today we're checking out the best indie games hitting the Nintendo Switch through Sunday, November 27th. And if you want even more indie gaming goodness, you can follow us on Twitter or come hang out with us in the Nindie Nation Discord. We'll be following the Black Friday sales this week, so make sure you're subscribed for any deals videos that may pop up. These are the 8 new releases hitting the Nintendo Switch through Sunday, November 27th. Okay, I know exactly which game we're going to touch on first because I spent a solid 45 minutes researching this game, and only now do I feel like I can accurately describe it. You ready? Aliisha, the Oblivion of Twin Goddesses, is a 2-player puzzle adventure exclusive to the Switch that requires, I think, 2 consoles. You could say it's in the same vein as Portal 2, but the game I really think it's most like is the Wii U exclusive Affordable Space Adventures. So if hearing the name of that game just made your ears perk up, check this out. Developed by Underscore Games, a tabletop and card game company who claims they are based in North Carolina but writes everything in broken English, in collaboration with Joybrick, an Android game developer, and published by P-Cube for a redonkulous $32.99. All of the weirdness aside, this game looks like it could be awesome. You play as one of 2 twins. Aliisha is super smart at puzzle solving but shows no emotion or affection, and Aisha is a sensitive but brave adventurer who can feel no pain. If you're solving puzzles, your Switch is in the dock and you play with Joy-Con motion controls. And if you're Aisha, you're all about platforming and moving from place to place, so you play in handheld and the games sync up locally. You with me? You can see some of the puzzles in the trailer, but that's basically the gist. Frankly, I think this sounds really cool, but this game doesn't have a prayer unless it's $20 and comes with 2 copies, so I don't know what to tell you. Maybe I'm wrong and you don't need 2 copies, so we'll have to look into that. For me though, if it drops down to a price like that and I can get my kids interested, I'll definitely be giving this one a shot, but probably not anytime soon. Next up is a game that should definitely be on your radar, so listen up, citizens. Back in 2012, developer Dako Dako was one of the brave souls releasing PlayStation Minis, their indie moniker for the PSP and Vita, and their most notable game was easily Floating Cloud God Saves the Pilgrims. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, you'll get another chance, because this week on Turkey Day, the 24th, they re-release a new, updated version of the game called Floating Cloud God Anniversary Edition for a super reasonable $7.99. This is like a side-scrolling shmup for people who wish they liked those games but always found them too hard. You fly around in the clouds doing the shooty-shooty thing at a very manageable, slower pace, while your devotees march around on the ground below you. You need to protect them, but in return they help you fight, kinda like breakable armor or fragile upgrades or something. It's a really cool concept that is really fun to play, so if you're down for something wildly different, I recommend checking it out. And then if you dig super spooky psychological detective stuff, Saint Kotar is looking right up your alley. It's by Red Martyr Entertainment and released for PC last year to average to low 70s reviews. The premise follows 2 religious leaders in rural Croatia who are trying to find a missing woman in a town plagued by devil worship and witchcraft. So, you know, if religious, psychological horror, witches, and exorcist stuff is your bag, well, eat your heart out. The shtick here is that you can see through the eyes of other people, which sounds neat, but only causes me to remember the first-party Nintendo GameCube game Geist, so who knows how that part pans out. I'd say wait on a sale because Sedesco is publishing it with a Switch tax for $32, but it can't hurt to throw it on your wish list if you happen to like what you see. And then we'll take a quick break to talk about today's sponsor, the Switch publisher
Just for Games,
and the release of their latest
zany multiplayer
Parents vs. Kids, the family challenge is no laughing matter, as your home is divided down the middle to play a bunch of super duper fun mini games that are family friendly and fun for the whole family. Family. The best part is whoever wins each challenge is able to dole out real-life tasks to the losers. For example,
uh-oh, Mom and Dad just stomped their good-for-nothing spawn in a game of generic paint-by-numbers. Not again, Dad,
says Jimmy, but Dad says, that's right, son, 2 more days in the septic tank for you. But what's this? Sally hosed off her brother and wants a rematch? What's the game? Ha, the classic roll the ball around the board until you get to the end of the maze. Who doesn't love that? Wouldn't you know it, the kids win! Aw, don't cry, Christina. What's wrong? Oh, Sally isn't too happy with you. Let's spin the wheel and see what fun task you get to do for your family's amusement. That's right. Mom gets to go down to 2nd Street and turn tricks all weekend. What fun you can have with your family when Parents vs. Kids launches on Thanksgiving Day for $24.99. Back to you, Jeff, and Nindie Nation, go f*** yourself.
All right. Then we've got a couple games I'm not quite sure what to make of, so we'll check in on those before wrapping up with some of the more promising titles. Chili Dog Interactive ports a free ad-supported Android game by Daniel Cherniev called Dead Station for $4.99. I skimmed through a full playthrough video and can confidently say this is a simple, extremely slow-paced Metroidvania that looks like side-scrolling Among Us, and it can be completed in just under an hour. If the character speed was increased to something more reasonable, it'd probably be like 20 minutes long. Great. But this next one is really interesting. You may look at the footage and assume this title, published by Cubic Games, is a low-poly ripoff of Dark Souls. But here's the thing. Blade of Darkness was released for PC in 2001 by Codemasters and Rebel Act. And get this, with significant assistance from a budding company called Mercury Steam, whose name you might know as the core development team behind Metroid Samus Returns and last year's Metroid Dread. 20 years later, Rebel Act ported it to Steam, and this week it comes to the Switch for $14.99. Looks like it's been half off pretty frequently on Steam, so I'd probably suggest putting it on your wishlist if you're interested. But hey, it received positive reviews upon release, and then the re-release has very positive reviews. So if you're in the mood to pick a class, then explore grim open environments while killing monsters with methodical combat, hey, this trip back in time is one that might be worth taking. And then, help me out with this one. What do you call this art style? We see it in stuff like Battle Chef Brigade, Game Type DX, and a lot of lower budget indies. It's like comic book cutout, but also a little gross with weird depth, but there's also something kinda cool about it. Anyone know what this is called? Anyways, on Thanksgiving, KnifeBoy Rebooted is a fitting game to release since this dude has a freaking butcher knife sticking out of his head. He'd be super helpful for the turkey. The plot is so deep about political intrigue and backstabbing and bringing people back to life that I can't tell if it's serious or a parody. But essentially, this $10 Metroidvania mixes in some adventure elements for dialogue and puzzles, as well as a deeper combat system that allows you to build combos and use even some fighting game inputs. It's developed by Runic Codes, who is most known for their survival horror booby games, the Red Colony series. Definitely on the fence with this one, but the action does look kinda fun. And last up for the week, developer Fat Jim said screw roguelike this, randomized that, no more backtracking, and Metroid can suck my Vania, cause they just went out and made a good old 16-bit action game. And I'm totally here for it. Primal Light takes visual cues from the Amiga era of games that we'd see reach the Super Nintendo and Genesis later on in their lives, and follows a blue tribal alien thing as he seeks revenge after the destruction of his tribe. I love the art style here. It's dark, very out of this world, and very well animated. Everything looks alive. The whole game runs just around 2 hours and is published by No Gravity Games. Unfortunately though, it releases for $15, so I'd suggest waiting for a sale if this seems like your thing. Yeah, it's a pretty light week, but that makes sense as, at least here in the States, we're celebrating Thanksgiving, and many of us have time off of work or school. Either way, I'm quite intrigued by Aliisha, and Blade of Darkness could be a fun trip back in time. But if I'm picking anything up this week, it'll probably be Floating Cloud God. What about you? Let me know down in the comments if anything from today is going on your wish list. And don't forget you can follow Nindie Nation on Twitter or join us over on Discord to keep in touch with the Black Friday deals. No stream this week because of the aforementioned holiday, but we'll be right back here next week for what is shaping up to be a much more exciting week. Until then, citizens, thanks so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing Nindie Nation with others. I'm Jeff. This has been Nindie Nation episode 167. And remember, no matter what type of game you're looking for, Nindie Nation will be right here to help you find just the thing to keep your Joy-Cons synced.